What's up, guys, and welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. I'm Hassan, this is Isaiah, and we're going to talk about House of the Dragon, the finale, a little bit of just our thoughts on the show. Isaiah is my roommate, my best friend, and my co-host, and we brought him on the show for two reasons. One, because he actually read the books. He's a bona fide Game of Thrones expert, and we've read the comments, and we can see how much you hate that me and Benny are casual fans. And I'm filming this on a different day than we usually do the live stream, so Benny couldn't be here. Also, the reason we haven't uploaded this sooner, Benny has forgotten to watch this for over 2 weeks now. So we're rolling with it, guys. Zay, your thoughts on that finale?
So, I really liked it. And I liked the season overall, but specifically the finale. I don't even know where to begin.
How does it? So we can go. We don't have to go beat by beat. We don't really do
that. I really enjoyed the scene of of Jace dying. I guess
dude,
but
what the?
It's not like I enjoyed him dying, but it was so well done. And if you're familiar with the source material, they never imply that he didn't do it on purpose. What's the guy's name? The guy that killed him. I'm not that much of
Aemon.
Aemon. Yeah.
They don't. So
Eye Patch Boy didn't kill him on by mistake in the source material, but the source material is not like actual. It's not like factual stuff.
So I mean, I've been watching this show with him, so I've kind of had an inside track. And then more recently, like the last week, I've just been watching. You just hear me in the kitchen every day watching Game of Thrones lore videos, just because I've been bored. But so. Yeah, the books are written from the Maester's perspective. Mm-hmm. So rather than it being an actual retelling, it is a historical retelling, aka it's a historian reading what it includes his biases, his opinions of what happened, and not necessarily everything. And it kind of lines up really well, except for one point of contention, which I will say we didn't get to talk about because Benny and I didn't get to review this episode, but Meleys, the dragon coming up with Rhaenys through the ground during Aegon's
happen. That's one thing I do disagree with strongly, is that that would not have been the real version. If a Maester could have reported on that, he definitely would have.
Yeah, exactly. They may have changed motivation. They may have said a lot of other things, whatever, but they definitely should have said that. So other than that, it's been pretty cool. So I like the idea that in the books, it was potentially like, oh, we don't know if or in the books it's like Aemon killed him, but in the show, Aemon did. He obviously took a war dragon out there, but he's technically young. I know he looks 30. There's a lot of really funny memes about that where it's like it's the scene from it's Will Smith. What's it called? Bad Boys? Something like that?
Yeah, with Martin Lawrence. Yeah.
With Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. And it's the scene where he's like, how old are you? 16. Wait, brother, you look 30. You look 30 or something like that. Oh, and it's like one of the most iconic scenes, but they made that meme with Aemon, and they're like, Aemon, you look 30.
Jesus.
But I love the actor who plays Aemon. I think he's so scary.
Yeah.
He's so good.
He is so creepy looking and terrifying, but it works. It works well.
And he's very good looking outside of the show.
Yes,
if you see him outside of the makeup and stuff, he's like a handsome guy.
Whatever your name is, you look fine, sir.
I'll look up the actor's name in a little bit. But yeah, so the episode opens with us on Dragonstone with Rhaenys coming with the news that the war has begun and that they came back on him, and it was crazy. Otto Hightower and Daemon go and they have a conversation and it doesn't go well. Otto Hightower is demanding that they swear loyalty to the new king and drop their claim, and he writes their claims that way they can live, because apparently Alicent is really putting in the work up there on King's Landing, trying to make it so they don't kill Rhaenyra. But yeah, that conversation doesn't go super well. That said, Rhaenyra does decide she wants to contemplate it. Daemon is very much on the warpath right now. He's ready to go off on him. I love Matt Smith in this.
Oh my God, Matt Smith.
A lot of people were very upset about this episode with Matt Smith's character.
Because he was because of the choking thing.
Because of the choking scene. Yeah. So, a lot of people were really, really, really aggressively up in arms that he choked Rhaenyra. And they said that this was like murdering a character. There was like a term they used for it on TikTok. Yeah. It's not because I like Daemon. I enjoyed his character. He's a bad guy.
No, he's called the Rogue Prince for a reason. It's because we can see him helping his brother up to the throne room and being a nice guy, but also we can see him killing his wife. And, and like choking people out of anger and stuff. So he's a complex character.
He's a complex character, but at no point is he like a gallant hero. I know he's played by the Doctor, so sometimes it maybe feels like
I'd want someone like him on my team for sure.
Oh my God, yeah. And recently I've been watching some Doctor Who clips too, and Matt Smith's Doctor was known for one thing, and it was these like very jokey, jovial statements followed by a threat that's a little bit lower and slower. Right. He would like go off on these tangents.
Much little pain inside.
Yeah, he would. There's a scene where I think Amy Pond was kidnapped and a bunch of other things happened, and she's giving birth to her child, and he like. It takes down this commander and he goes, and I want you'll be Commander the Clown or something like that, whatever. Like goes on this crazy rant, and at the end of it, and I want to watch you suffer. And it's like really weird, but it's him. So it's really fun to watch him like stretch his acting muscles. I think Rhaenys is kind of the MVP right now just because the dragon scene is incredible. It's one of my favorite scenes. Also, I'd like to draw attention to the Eric scene, that the fact that there are twins on either side. That has to come into play. You don't spoil it for me, but I feel there's no way that story element does not come into play, especially just from like a writing perspective. And they got twins that look so much alike, and hair and makeup I'm sure does a lot of work to make them look even more alike. But I thoroughly enjoyed this finale. The ending, I mean, so we watched it. It was me, Isaiah, and our other roommate Alex, and we sat there yelling at the TV like, please, I want this to end. Can this scene be over? Not because it wasn't amazing to look at, but it was just like, oh, it's just so sad. It was like
brutal to like watch, because you know what's gonna happen, and like just to see it all play out, and you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, it's so upsetting. It's like a classic horror movie. Don't go there. Stop.
Also,
turn around.
Also, I don't know if it was this episode that was too dark or the episode before this. Someone needs
this episode and the episode before then, and it was lit by the exact same guy who lit the season 8 episode. He left the show. He left the show after season 2. I think he was one of the showrunners.
Okay.
I believe that he is the one that left. And they tried to give an excuse. There was like an interview where they gave excuses about it, and they talked about it a little bit, and it was just like he tried to say like there's a lot that goes into uploading a file like that. And that, like, a lot of things can happen because, with a movie, it's all set to go on one type of screen, right? With a TV show, you're setting it and you're scaling it to go on 30 different resolutions, a bunch of different screen sizes, whatever. I think that the other director was just trying to be nice. I think that gaffer really likes his vision, or like that director really likes his like dark vision.
There are so many things that I've watched on multiple screens that take place at nighttime, and I can see it just fine. Like Lord of the Rings, a lot of it happens in the dark, and I can still see it.
It's crazy how they light that too, because when you're filming it, it feels like daylight. Because it's very interesting how they do the screens and stuff. I've like looked into it quite a bit, yeah. But Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon really struggled with that.
Everything else this season though. You want to start talking about like the season overall?
Yeah, we can go into the season overall.
I have one big gripe with how they do the older female characters, and it's kind of, they did the same thing with Cersei in Game of Thrones, but now we have like 3 or 4 Cerseis now. Not in terms of like doing bad stuff, but like being a morally gray kind of character like that. Where they kind of boil everything down to like her being a mother, and like, oh, I can't hurt this other team because I'm also a mother, and it's there's got to be something more creative than that to like give motivation for your older female characters.
I would agree. I think that's a very interesting take. It's not necessarily one that I thought of when I was watching it, but yeah, you're right. It's like it feels like it's always the thread where it's like we're both mothers, but it's like Rhaenyra.
She could have ended the war right there, but she realized that she's also a mother. It's like, okay.
Well, yeah, and also that it wasn't her place to end this war because history looked down upon it. I'm okay with Rhaenyra Dracarysing all of them and taking the throne immediately.
Literally.
That'd be awesome. That would be so cool. But yeah, it's that was a gripe that I had, and I had a gripe that the comment sections decided to get very, very their feelings hurt a lot about it. But Kristen Cole's motivation, I think that I'm going with it now, but I think in the way that it was written in the TV show, and you guys have to understand this, that like mediums should overlap if they're adaptations and stuff, but at the same time, they're their own individual thing, and you should allow people who are interpreting one version of it to interpret it without the background information.
If you're just going to say, like, oh, actually, this is how it happened in the books, and, like, that's fine. But if you're going to use that as, like, a bludgeon to attack people for talking about what they see on screen,
there was a lot of people commenting, like, Hassan doesn't know what he's talking about. Kristen Cole is an honorable guy. He came from nothing, and it's a lot of, like, assuming. And there's the old adage, right? Show, don't tell. I don't think they showed anything or told anything that would lead me to believe that Sir Criston Cole was this really honor-driven, like, he's not Zuko, right?
Yeah.
Like, for me, it felt like I was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender if Prince Zuko went through the entire beginning of the show and didn't care about his honor, and he was just like, I'm fighting the Avatar, like, I don't care, like he's like hunting the Avatar. There's no real purpose other than hunting him, right? And then at the end he goes, my honor, my father, my leg. It's like the Ba Sing Se fights happens, and that's the first time he mentions honor. Like, he never shows struggle. Obviously, that didn't happen in that story, and that story was like really clear. So it felt like with Criston Cole, they didn't show him to be this honor-obsessed guy, at least to me as a viewer. And I don't know if you felt that way in the TV show as opposed to the books.
I didn't read this specific book, but I'm familiar with the source material just because if you watch Game of Thrones stuff, you end up watching all the lore videos all the time. With his character in the show, though, they didn't portray anything other than him like being salty that like he had sex and that she didn't want to like run away with him from the throne. He made him look really stupid and petty.
They do, and
like,
not
I have
to
no sympathy for anything like he's going through.
And I'm not gonna say like, hey guys, that means this is unequivocally. If you read the books and you felt differently, because I know he has more to do in this story. I'm aware of like other things that will happen in the future because I've read things now. But in the show, he's not portrayed as this really hyper intelligent, conniving, manipulating, like smart guy.
No, he looks like Allison's like little cuck
bitch.
boy.
He's a little bitch. It's Allison's little bitch.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe does a disservice to Fabian Farkle, who I think is really good. He also doesn't age at all in the show, which is funny because everyone got recasted. Lots of characters got aged up. They did not do a single thing to show age on him.
Viserys, you could tell he aged.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's actually an editing mistake where when he's like really skinny and malnourished and on the bed, he has an arm that he had previously lost for that one scene. So they're like the department forgot to take that out.
I gotta go check that out now.
They have a lot of work to put into. But yeah, I want to say that's probably one of my bigger issues with the show is that I didn't agree with how they portrayed it. And a lot of people are like, well, obviously he was just threatened by Laenor's little baby boy, and that's why he killed him in front of everybody. And it's like, it didn't come across that way. It came across as like, hey, we both have someone to look out for. Let's look out for each other. But maybe I watched that scene very wrong, and I'll go ahead and say it. Maybe I watched it wrong, and I'll go back and see it and feel later. But yeah, that's something I want to say. I know people were really angry at me for my opinion of that, and
you gotta calm down, you know.
Yeah, no, people get very, very angry at me. I love the dude. We didn't get to talk about this because Benny and I didn't review this. The foot fetish.
Oh yeah,
that would be the most out of left field.
Okay, can someone put in the comment sections if that was in the source material? Because that's the first time I've seen anything like that, and it's fine if they added that in because it's Westeros, so it's a whole bunch of weird stuff.
Well, I just thought Alicent Hightower, for being as above everything as she is, being so like, you know, Rhaenyra's a dirty whore. Like so disgusted
that's the commentary,
with it.
Though.
It's and then it's like, well, no, she didn't. She did just like lay back while some guy jerks off in front of her, though, and that's a bit.
Look, you gotta get it in the medieval times somehow.
Yeah,
you know?
You had to get the foot fetish in. It's real popular these days in media. But yeah, it's been interesting, and the fan reaction to everything was really fun to watch. People really love Daemon Targaryen, and it was funny about how upset they got at the writers and at the showrunners for how Daemon's character turned out in that last episode. But for me, Daemon is a character driven by nothing other than like the need for power. And while he chilled out for a few years, he didn't. Like, he wouldn't let his wife go back to the Stepstones to be with her family because he wanted to keep fighting and living lavishly or whatever. He wanted to have his semblance of control and power. So here he is again. Rhaenyra's really trying to contemplate how should we go about this? Should we, avoid war? Should I bend the knee just because this would plunge so many people to death, right? And Daemon doesn't care about that. Daemon is, I'm here. I'm ready to kill people. My brother's... he said, oh, she had to have murdered my brother. It's like, I think Viserys had some pretty clear extenuating health factors. I don't know.
Yeah, I liked everything that they did with the Valarians. And
Corvus Valerian?
The whole Valarian crew was very, very engaging. Everyone had like a really cool story.
loved that Sir Laenor, like I think one of the most hype moments for me in the whole series was when Laenor got to leave, that he got to go off with his man with some gold to go live like a happy life somewhere else, because it was so sad that he was forced into that situation. And they imply in that scene that that Rhaenyra and Laenor have like they've slept together, they've tried to have sex before, and I think that. And I'm not going to speak for the gay community because I'm not a part of it, but I imagine that like the experience of having to be a gay man who knows what your sexuality is, but have to like bend to the to conform to society in whatever ways. And he did that so that he could have a child with somebody. So it was his motivation, but the fact that he had to do that society demanded that he be married to a woman in the first place. All that.
They even did a classic burned body swap out thing, which is a big thing in the original series, like swapping people and having mistaken identities. Quentin is alive.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought that was a really fun scene. I think that because I'm a little, I would have really loved it. And this isn't like, this is the best version of the story. I would have loved it had they eventually told Lord Corlys and Rhaenys after they had like already of their own volition joined the cause, been like, Laenor is alive.
Yeah, I don't get why they never told them, and why like if they think that they killed their people, they'd like be so willing to help.
Well, I think that Lord Corlys and Rhaenys are very honorable. I think that they're not petty in any way. They're not petulant in any way. Like Lord Corlys' brother was more of that. And now that he's back, he's like, no, we'll help because this is what he's learned. I mean, you look, he's in the books, it's not this, but I love that in the TV show, he's a black man because it makes it the grandsons aren't his, and there's no question that they aren't.
So like it's really it makes sense the choice that they made.
Yeah, it's a really cool choice, and it makes it so like Lord Corlys Velaryon loved those kids. He loved Jace. He loved Luke. He will probably get crazy angry into season 2 over the death of Luke. So that I think really adds the story. That just shows what kind of man he is. He knows. Everyone knew the whole time. Yeah. He knew his son was gay. He knew everything about it. So,
but people don't remember blood. They remember names.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool line. Except, no, dude, we need to remember your blood. Look at you.
you.
He didn't age at all either. They tried to put him in aging makeup, and it's like, no, he still looks.
That walking stick ain't fooling me, buddy.
Yeah, I don't buy it, man.
I don't buy it.
He looks just as fresh as the day he started the war. In the Stepstones, but. Yeah, they conquered the Stepstones, and we're really gearing up for the next season. I know it's like 2 years out, which is
I really wanted to see Winterfell again, and I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah, they did. But yeah, I was really happy with anything. And guys, comment below if we missed anything significant. Is there anything you'd like us to go back on and talk about? We would love to talk about it. And if you like having Isaiah here, tell Benny, comment below, because we'll bring him on more and we'll do more stuff. And it's really fun to film and talk about stuff, because in the house we're pretty much doing this. We're just doing this every night.
It'll give me a chance to have to watch more stuff.
Oh yeah. And then if whether it's this or another show, if we're watching it in the house, then I think we'd film this like immediately after. So get a lot. This is like our week or two since House of the Dragons, kind of really digesting all those thoughts kind of video versus like a fresh reaction. But yeah, let me know your thoughts below on both this season, where you think it's going. Did you enjoy it? Are you a fan of the source material? I'd love to see comments of like if people are book readers, if they are, really familiar with the lore, just so we can get a feel for like where's the fan base at here at AMD. But yeah, my name's Isaiah.
I'm Hassan.
I said that backwards completely. My name's Hassan.
I'm Isaiah.
And this has been absolutely Marvel and DC. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.